Yeah. Hello, everybody. My name is Dmitry, and I'm here with Kathleen Macferran. That we are actually hosting the training. It's a 7-day training in Slovenia. It's called The Art and Essence of NVC. Actually, how to find strength in the advanced nuances of nonviolent communication. So we just wanted to have a short session, short recording about what this training is about, what is our passion and stuff like that. So I would just like to ask you, Kathleen, so maybe you can share something, what actually motivates you to offer this training in Slovenia with me?
Well, part of it, Dmitry, is that we've been through a journey together. Like we've been at several different trainings and have co-led some things and co-organized, just been on a team together. And the experience of being on a team with you and creating community and working toward a goal is something that I've loved. Like I long for that in my life, to work on projects, to build things together with people. And there's been such ease and flow and joy and fun. So that's one piece of it, but partly because I want to create lots of spaces where we build things together in the world and where we learn how to dialogue. And when things don't work very well, how do we move our way through conflict in a way that brings us closer together? So having that lived experience with you, and then thinking we can create some spaces where that dialogue can expand further to more people. That's really the joy for me. How about for you?
Yeah. I'm quite relating to what you said, and also what we spoke before, just how much our work is important in the global meaning. Just whatever we do in our small villages, in our cities, in our lives, in our personal lives, how much this can actually inspire other people to change, to have to be just a part of the global change. Maybe a small one, but just to do whatever we can in our backyards to influence our lives and lives of others. And yeah, and then one thing that popped up in me, it was also how we come with this idea of this, what we can do together. It's like, let's have some fun and let's spread the NVC, and what can we do? And it's actually one of the clarities that I had. I can clearly remember that we have, like, I think it was a practice group or something, and we were doing on requests. And I was right in the beginning of my NVC path. And yeah, you just offered a workshop on requests, and at some point it's just like, I don't even remember what it was. There was a small thing, something just popped up, and from that moment on, the requests are like reading a book. It was like maybe 2-hour or 3-hour session with you, like, yeah, the first night probably, or the second time that we met, and it was a practice group, and I got it so clearly. Yeah, and I really try to bring that into my workshop as well. And I know that you do it because I learned from you a lot. And yeah, this is something that we want to kind of specially offer in this workshop, just like a little things that can make big changes in how we use and how we spread our NVC. Also, yeah, I also enjoy like doing stuff with you. We were together quite several times, and it's also like what we include, like, it's fun. So NVC can be very, resolution conflicts and stuff like that. Just like, yeah, I love it. It can be painful and hard, but at times it can be ease and love and that's fun.
I love hearing that the time things clicked, like those moments of aha. And that's, I think, why we're talking about, like, what's the essence? And sometimes when I start to go, oh, at the very core, it's not about the mechanics, it's not about the form, but there's a principle that guides me and becomes so clear with that kind of clicking into place. And it's often something so simple that once I grasp it on the inside, then I can start applying it in my family. I can apply it at work. I can apply it in my neighborhood. I can apply it when I'm at the grocery store. I can apply it with how I talk to myself. And that's one thing that I'm absolutely passionate about, is getting beyond kind of some of the, I don't really know what to call them, but sometimes I hear people talk about, well, Marshall said this, and therefore, then there's all this assumption that's made. And it often, to my ears, sounds like black or white, or another way of saying good or bad. And so I really like to get under, if that's a principle that I believe in, what does it really look like in moments when I'm stressed? What does it look like in moments when I'm actually just wanting to engage and have fun or relax or let go of the world? And I know that we talked about earlier when we checked in, I'm heartbroken right now I'm heartbroken by the level of violence in my country, in the United States. And it's horrifying to me. And the more that I investigate and try to learn what's behind the violence, it continues to come back to this place of listening, of dignity, of worth, of creating an equitable world. Like it seems like thousands and thousands and thousands of moments in all of the cases I've been reading where some intervention of empathy, where some intervention of clear requests, where some intervention of truth telling, truth telling of here's what is in my heart, really, for real. That's the thing that I continue to believe can make the difference instead of looking to weapons to deal with our conflicts, that we look to each other, we look to dialogue, that we look to creating conditions in which people are fed, which people have medical care, which people have enough curiosity about each other. So that's what I'm really interested in exploring. And I learn from the groups of people I'm with all the time. So I can't wait to spend a whole week exploring what do our worlds look like and where are the places that we can navigate to intervene when tensions are high. Any thoughts around that? Anything pop up for you?
Yeah. How much it pops up all the time, like how much we can just do something about it. It's just not like watching and be bystanders. It's not like just you and me, but every participant, everybody who's joining our path in maybe just 7 days or maybe someday longer. Yeah, it's something that we can make as a change to this world. And whenever I start speaking like the social change and how we can change the world, I look around and look in my house and I look to my dearest one. This is where I start my change. I start my change in my kitchen, in my bathroom, and then in my backyard, and then I can go into the world and change anything else. And I'm inspired how these little things can make a big differences in the world, not just in my kitchen, just how we can spread this as and I really love the idea that we have, and I really love the trainings, and I based on experience we already have, I can say that participants can gain quite an interesting experience during these 7 days. Just maybe would you share what you can see as people can expect to explore with us in that 7-day journey?
Yeah, I'm hoping all of us can really start examining what is it we believe and what are those, what are the core principles that guide our lives and how can we apply them in really concrete, specific ways. I love that you said, oh yeah, we actually can do something about it. And it might happen in my kitchen, it might happen in my neighborhood. It probably will. And so I'm hoping that as participants, I love that you've chosen a venue where there's going to really hold a level of intimacy, the small group, so that we can do that deep dive into what do I really think and where are the places that I rely on my skills. They're really ingrained, they're embodied, and where are the places that I want support to cultivate and develop skills that'll make it more likely that I can make the changes I want in the world. So that's what I'm hoping is really a co-created agenda where people can really sink into the reflection and asking for what kind of support they want. And then I'm hoping that people will create relationships there that they'll continue for years to come. How about you? What are you hoping for the participants and for us?
Yeah, when you mentioned the venue, it popped up that it's in the nature. It's quite accessible, so it's not so difficult to travel. But still, it's in really beautiful nature, beautiful hills around, forests, and it can offer a lot of intimacy. So it's we can have some fun outdoor as well, indoor, and also the small group of people. So I'm not having like a big one So we have kind of open to 24 people, and with 2 trainers, this can be quite an amazing experience. A lot of support, and a lot of care. Yeah, and the community is just big enough that people can really connect based on what we already did. We can imagine that people can really connect, and they have a lot of peer-to-peer learning and joining in the sauna, in the nature for a walk or something. And it's kind of also supporting what we are trying to kind of offer, to invite to in that work. And it's also the 2 words that pop up in my mind is also what you said, like going a bit under, not just so much being in the structure. This is 2 words that I kind of usually like to mention. It's how to say yes, how to give a joyful yes to something that someone is asking or demanding to you, or even how to say no. How to say no and still stay connected in a kind of subtle, natural way. It's not being disconnected. This is also one of the principles that's kind of connected with a lot of beliefs usually and stuff like that. And only one thing that I want to add is also, how can our cultural differences? So we are expecting, as much as the travel will allow, an international group of people. Yeah. We also have people from 3 continents with several people that are registered. So we can expect to be dynamics also in the cultural differences. Just see how people from different cultures can have different beliefs, different kind of triggers, different values. And how can just, maybe when you have a partner and just have a kind of conflict with him, and it can make it easier to understand and to see what is just under that, and explore a little bit more if you have some other cultures that kind of have usually bigger differences in values and strategies they use. I don't know if that for you.
I love it. We live in a global world, and every day when I'm trying to understand some of the levels of violence, it always includes some cultural differences in some way, some cultural gender, whether it's race, whether it's gender, whether it's economic situation, whether it's geographic, whether it's we come from different ethnic backgrounds, different cultures, like there's always that piece. And so really looking at what is the role of that play and how do we engage and celebrate the differences and find common ground in the midst of that.
Yeah. There's also
anything else?
Yeah, I just popped up that this is a lot of, we have a lot of polarization in this world. And yeah, also this COVID situation brought a lot of kind of things that popped up that were living in us and just came up. And it's a lot of that. We want to address that as well, because the world changed and it's not the same, and it's not going to be the same.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully we can be healthy and the disease will kind of diminish in a big way. It's just, there's some things that will still stay. And this is one of the things I would like to address. And one of the topics that actually you suggested, and it was also addressed the sexuality. So it's kind of gender. How can we deal with gender stuff? Mm-hmm. Yeah. How can we address that? How can we see a lot of potential for growth instead of kind of having a lot of issues around it? It's also about some stuff about spirituality to also address my interest. So if I would be a participant, that would be one thing, that how can we have like a healthy spirituality also, not just being present and just bodies and minds and stuff like that, but just to see the big picture as well.
Love it. And that for me, how do we integrate our sexuality, our spirituality, our culture, our preferences, like really looking at integration. This workshop is really, how do we integrate? How do we live what we want to live? Yeah, I'm excited, and I'm super disappointed that we have chosen to postpone it. And I know that for me, that's been a big part of what's happening right now in the States, and the safety and COVID health, and there's a lot of details under that. So I'm grateful that we could really, on a needs-based kind of outlook, be able to postpone until we have some sense that we can create even safer spaces. And I'm so looking forward to next June. Probably, we don't have the dates yet. Because we're still waiting for another training to get settled and rechecking with the venue again, but looking at the first 2 weeks in June. So hopefully shooting for something in that first weekend to the second weekend in there. But I'm imagining we'll send something out for people as soon as we hear.
Yeah. That's also kind of, yeah, a bit sad that we postponed, but knowing the situation, the decision was in place, so it's kind of in mourning in one way and celebration in the other. And yeah, around dates, as we said, like most likely dates are, I don't know, from 3rd to 10th of June, yeah, or a bit week before, week after. So it's kind of in that area, but as soon as we will kind of fix the date and check the venue, then we'll publish it and we'll know all people interested just to have the date that they can reserve. It's still quite a couple of months until then, and hope people will find time to join us. And yeah, and I really that they have some experience. So we kind of, this is not a beginner's workshop as we settle up. So we kind of invite people that have some experience with NVC, and because we will really try to dig into that, natural language, how to not speak by the form and how to really swim in the essence of it. And we kind of invite people who have some knowledge, some way of living NVC already in place.
Great. Anything else you'd want to share about a workshop? Or seems like we've covered a lot of the bases here.
Yeah. I mean, I love how actually I learned from you how to make a flow in the workshops and not to have everything prepared in advance. So some people have difficulty to hear that, and just, yeah, I love some structure, and we do have some structure. And anyway, just, yeah, I enjoy how much you can really make a flow, and I can really follow in that kind of.
Yeah,
keen on that kind of.
I want to speak to that because, as you said, some people are like, what? There's flow. This is the kind of flow that comes from a deeply embedded structure, right? That comes from a deeply ingrained practice. I see this nonviolent communication as a practice. That's a daily practice. It's a moment-to-moment practice. So when there's a deeply held sense of the principles and practices that actually live within us, that are integrated within us, then it makes sense to be responding to the moment of bringing those practices and principles to the moment that calls for it. And so to many other people, it looks like flow, like, oh, there's no structure and it's chaos. I experience it internally very different, rather than, no, this is being called forth now, and then this other thing is being called forth now. So it really invites participants to be co-creating what they're coming to learn in those moments, and to be calling forth in the moments when there's a lot of excitement and curiosity, rather than waiting till, no, we can't talk about that. We're talking about that 2 days from now, when maybe it's not of interest in 2 days. So our structure and flow, I really believe, comes out of the sense of aliveness that's in the room.
I just love it how you explained it. Yeah, with words. So it's kind of, for me, missing that words, and yeah. Mm-hmm. And I can imagine, I've seen it, how can this actually support participants in learning and in kind of being a strong community, and yeah, catching this essence that we mentioned. So yeah, I'm really hopeful that people will join. We still have some places left, and we're hoping that people will register, and then this small group of people will dig into that NVC stuff.
Yeah, we'll be on fire when they leave.
Yeah. They will come changed, and we will come changed as well from that kind of stuff. So, anything else do you want to share for the end?
Not at this time. I'm sure that we'll have many more of these conversations, and to invite, and also wanted to invite participants, if they have certain things that they're longing for, to engage with us ahead of time and check in. And it's not just co-creation once we arrive, but also ahead of time, really inviting that feedback.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you, Kathleen,
thanks, Dmitry,
with me, and you're looking participants, and I'm kind of joyfully expecting that we came to that training and we started.